Illegal immigration has become one of the most divisive and heavily debated issues in the United States, and the intensity of the conversation only seems to grow with each passing year. At its core, the concern stems from the perceived strain that undocumented individuals place on public infrastructure, national security, and the economy. Although the country was founded on the principle of welcoming immigrants, the problem arises when individuals bypass legal pathways, enter the country unlawfully, and begin to benefit from services and systems without contributing proportionately. This phenomenon, some argue, has reached a level where it constitutes an abuse of America's generosity and regulatory framework. One of the most glaring issues is the financial burden that illegal immigration places on American taxpayers. A 2023 study by the Federation for American Immigration Reform, FAIR, estimates that illegal immigration costs the United States over $150 billion annually. This figure includes expenses related to emergency healthcare, public education, law enforcement, and incarceration. Critics argue that while some undocumented immigrants pay taxes through fake social security numbers or under-the-table jobs, these contributions are nowhere near enough to offset the cost of public services they utilize. School districts, for instance, have had to absorb millions of undocumented children into classrooms, resulting in overcrowded conditions, strained resources, and billions of dollars in annual expenses. Teachers often face challenges in communication, curriculum adjustment, and classroom management due to language barriers and educational disparities. This not only affects the quality of education for undocumented students but can also diminish the learning experience for other students. Hospitals along the southern border and in immigrant-heavy states have reported consistent overcrowding, with many undocumented individuals seeking emergency care they cannot afford. Because federal law mandates that hospitals provide emergency medical treatment regardless of immigration status or ability to pay, institutions are forced to absorb these costs or pass them on to taxpayers. In many cases, citizens find themselves waiting longer for care, paying higher fees, or facing underfunded public health systems. These institutions, already challenged by rising costs, experience significant financial strain that can impede their ability to serve communities effectively. Beyond economics, illegal immigration also raises serious concerns about national security and law enforcement. Border enforcement agents report millions of unauthorized crossings each year. While some are apprehended and processed, a substantial number manage to avoid detection entirely. The Department of Homeland Security has noted that hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants living in the U.S. have pending criminal charges or prior convictions. This reality heightens fears about public safety and raises questions about the country's ability to effectively screen individuals entering its borders. Immigration courts are overwhelmed by backlog, often delaying cases for years and making it difficult to deport individuals who pose legitimate risks. Another aspect that fuels public frustration is the erosion of trust in government institutions and the rule of law. The perception that laws are inconsistently enforced or ignored creates a breeding ground for cynicism and political division. Many citizens feel that their voices go unheard while the system enables and protects illegal entry. The lack of accountability and policy reform further drives resentment and creates political gridlock. Partisan disagreements prevent meaningful solutions, and the cycle of finger-pointing leaves communities on both sides of the issue feeling helpless and frustrated. This issue also touches on labor market dynamics. Undocumented immigrants often take low-paying jobs in agriculture, construction, and hospitality, which some argue undercuts wages for American workers. Because many employers knowingly exploit undocumented labor to avoid paying benefits or meeting regulatory standards, this leads to unfair competition and contributes to wage stagnation. While there is a counterargument that undocumented workers fill positions that Americans aren't willing to take, the deeper problem lies in the legality and ethics of the arrangement. The normalization of undocumented labor creates shadow economies and undermines the foundations of fair employment practices. Culturally and politically, illegal immigration further complicates the narrative of national unity. Legal immigrants often endure years of paperwork, background checks, fees, and interviews to earn their place and citizenship. When others sidestep these requirements and still enjoy many of the same public benefits, it diminishes the experience and motivation of those who follow the law. It also fuels tension among immigrant communities, some of whom feel that their efforts are devalued or undermined by the actions of others. In recent years, policy decisions and administrative actions have also contributed to what critics call systemic abuse. Temporary protections, extended legal deadlines, and sanctuary city policies have, in some views, weakened deterrence and created loopholes that encourage more illegal entry. The result is a system that appears both overwhelmed and permissive, where enforcement is sporadic and consequences are inconsistent. This emboldens smugglers, traffickers, and criminal networks that profit from moving people across borders under dangerous conditions. Ultimately, illegal immigration in the United States represents a complex problem that touches on humanitarian concerns, constitutional principles, and practical realities. While it's crucial to uphold compassion and consider individual circumstances, failing to address the broader systemic impact does a disservice to citizens and legal immigrants alike. The abuse lies not only in the act of entering unlawfully, but in the way individuals are able to stay indefinitely, access benefits, and influence policies without undergoing the same scrutiny or responsibility as those who come legally. Solving this issue requires a balanced approach, one that honors the nation's immigrant legacy while firmly upholding the laws and standards necessary for a functioning society.